Hi, Jacob. So Christine and I are really into quilting, and we're gonna make a friendship quilt. So we have to make it really big, or we could make it different sizes. But for today, we're gonna use this sized base. So when you have a quilt, you gotta cut all the squares, and then we're gonna do designs. So for our first design, we would like these triangles along the edges of the square. Can you do that for us?
Yes, I can.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I forgot to tell you something. We want it to be another square in the middle.
Another square in the middle.
She wants to frame her cat.
Yeah, we're going to incorporate our cats.
And it has to be a square.
It has to be a square, so we would like you to line those along the edges, kind of as the frame for when I embroider all of my cats' names. It's gonna do your cat.
Where's my square?
Yeah, I can't really see, that wouldn't look right.
Okay.
Can you try and rearrange them?
Yes, I can.
Thank you, Jacob.
You're so accommodating.
My cats are very important. Can I give him a clue?
Go ahead.
Okay, this was where
All
we'll
four of
place-
them have to be one
Yeah.
square.
Sorry, miscommunication. We would like you to use these. We have a lot of green square triangles already cut out, so we would like you to place them along the edges to create an open space that's a square.
I get what you're saying now. Okay.
Beautiful. Sorry,
They're the
quilting's really hard to explain.
I don't see how you guys can do this. This is so stressful.
Oh, I know,
Wow,
quilting.
there we go.
So we're gonna have my cats' names in here. So that's the frame. But we need to know, I wanna put a nice pretty blue fabric. So when we go to Joann's, I need to know what the dimensions of this square is. So what would the dimensions of that square be? Can you help us? I'm bad at math today. And feel free to write anything down. And how would you figure out the area of the square?
What would you need to know?
How do I find area of a square?
Base times height.
So what's the base of my square?
Where I see B, B, A, A.
I need my
Inside square. Inside square.
I need my blue fabric in here
C
for
by
my
C.
pictures of my
Oh,
cats.
write that down for us.
C times C.
So for Victoria's cats, for
She
the
needs
blue.
C times C fabric. So
All
what is
right.
that? Would that be like C squared, something like that?
Could you do that?
You know what? I feel like that's pretty accurate.
Okay.
So C squared.
Okay.
So now, I have two cats, okay? But they're sisters, you know, they fight a lot. They don't really get along. They like to be in separate rooms, so I think on my quilt square, I need to make separate squares for my cats. I need 2 squares for my cats. But I want to use these green triangles so I can match Victoria's
Friendship quilt.
friendship quilt. And I'm going to make my quilt the same size. My quilt square is going to be the same size as Victoria's as well. So can I rearrange these in any way that will give me 2 different squares that I can put my cats in?
And they have to be squares.
Yeah, I want squares
Okay.
for my cats. Yep.
I mean, it's quilting. Gotta have squares.
Okay. Make things-
Yes! So which cat are you gonna put here?
That's the mean cat. That's Allie.
So she gets the
She
smaller
gets the
square.
smaller square. And
Okay.
Jade, she's my fave. She gets the big square right here.
Okay.
So, I want to know, is the area of my squares for my 2 cats the same as Victoria's? Because all we did was rearrange these.
She said no.
Why do you say no?
Because when I did Victoria's, I saw that C times C got me the base times height for that square. Now when I see for this big square right here, I see B times B, and I
Okay.
see A times A.
Let me sure that
So we have A times A here
Yes.
for Allie.
for Allie. And Jade's square takes up B times B.
And now this would be the same thing when I do A times A, it would still be A squared, and
Yep.
B times B would be B
B
squared.
squared. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I have a question, Christine.
Mm-hmm.
You're using the same green triangles as I am?
I am.
Okay, so they're still gonna take up the same amount of area on the original quilt square, right?
I didn't change.
What do you think about that, Jacob?
Well, I can see it because I'm using the same exact triangles to make the different kinds of squares. And if I were to reposition it back to the way I had it, it matches the first quilting that I made.
Okay, so let's ask our question again, Christine, that you had. What am I doing? Thank you.
You want me to ask?
Ask the question, please.
Okay, so would Christine's white space be more than Victoria's white space? Or would Victoria's white space be more than Christine's white space? Or would it be the same?
I think it would be the same.
Because?
Because if I were to put it back the way that it was in the beginning, it would cover the same amount of white space as the other one.
Okay.
But we're quilters, and we have to be very precise. I mean, have you ever gone to a quilting club? Anyway, so how would we, if we measure this out, what would we do to show that Christine's 2 squares are the same as my big square?
Well, if I look at yours, I can see that it represents c squared. But I know that these 2 squares added together get the area for your quilt.
And you said that the area is the same or different than hers?
It's the same.
It's the same.
Okay, so how would you write that?
Since you have 1 square on your part of the quilt,
That's the sweet square, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the 1 square.
All right.
And now I have 2 squares in this one, which represent a times a and b times b, which is a squared and b squared. So if I put a squared plus b squared, I could get c squared.
You figured it out for us, Jacob. Oh my gosh.
You mean a little squared on that one too?
Oh, sorry.
I thought
There we
that's
go.
what you said. Okay.
Oh yeah. You
All
write
right.
very small.
I'm sorry.
So, to summarize, if we have a quilt square and we need, for my cats, to make one big frame, because you know I love my cats, right? I mean, there's 5 of them. They get the biggest. We said that the area of this square is c squared. But now, for Christine's friendship quilt, we said that we did it like this, correct? Well, there. This is how we want it for Christine's. That Jade is her favorite cat, is gonna get the bigger square. Allie, she's gonna go over here. And we decided that the area of this space is b squared, and the area of this space is a squared, which is the same as my original square
Area.
Area of my square, because these 2, or these groups of triangles, Christine.
All we did was move them around.
Yep, all we did was move them
We
around.
just slid them around. They're
So
still
the
taking up
area is still the
space as
same.
They were.
So, do you want to join a quilting club?
Yes, I do.
Great!
I have a question though.
Oh, yes, Dr. Underwood.
So, if I have this triangle,
Yes.
okay, and if I know that this side is length 3
Okay,
and that side is length 4,
let's write it down.
is there a way to figure out what the third side is?
Ooh. On the separate piece of paper, do you think you could figure that out, Jacob?
Yes.
Please show us.
Since a squared plus b squared equals c squared, we 3 times 3, which equals 9.
Okay.
And now I can do the same thing with b. So this b is 4, so that means that this b is 4.
Okay.
And now if I do the same thing like I did with the a's, I would do 4 times 4 equals 16.
Okay. So now how do we figure out C that we weren't given it?
So now what I would do is I would add my a squared, which was 9, by the b squared, which is 16, to get c squared, which is 25.
So what does that tell you about this?
each of these would represent 5.
Why?
Why?
What did you say that this area was?
C times C.
C squared, right?
Yeah,
squared.
and then C squared now represents 25.
So the area of that open space there is 25.
Yes.
So if that's a square and the area is 25, what's the length of the side?
Well, since you do base times height, 25 represents the area. So for base times height, the only way I could get 25 by multiplying something by the same measurement is by doing 5 times 5 to get the C squared.
All right. All right. I have another question for you. Oh, here's a different question for you now. So what if I know this side is 6 and I know this side B is 4, do I have enough information to figure out what A is?
Well, I think you do, because if C equals 6 right here, I could just use this formula right here, A squared plus B squared equals C squared, and I could just rearrange them so I could figure out for A.